The original Strangers, when it came out, was shocking and new, and like nobody had ever seen that before. In our chapter 1, we call it a reboot, but it was more or less a remake of the original Strangers, and that's because we felt like we should bring that to a new audience. We loved the movie that we made, but that was just the stepping off point. We wanted to tell the story of what happens next.
Movie 1, you know exactly where you're supposed to go. In movie 2, we were in the Wild West. We were making our own original film, and movie 3 the same, but we shot them all at one time with a very limited amount of days. We knew if we were successful in movie 1, which we were, we would want to go back and enhance movie 2 and 3 with our enhancement shoots, because the arc is going to naturally change and evolve as you're editing.
We looked at the whole thing and said to ourselves, we need to go deeper and satisfy the fans, give them hopefully an experience where they go, okay, I understand why they did chapter 1, but I really had a good time in chapter 2 and chapter 3.
Scarecrow leaves, and now we come back with the goodbye to Ryan at the end.
Yeah.
We spent hours really working on the emotional arc of the character. We figured out there's something so much more here that we could create.
Movie number 2 starts with her waking up in the hospital. There's a nurse, Danica, who she feels like she can trust, but then she's not sure because masked people show up at the hospital and attack her. And where was the nurse when this happened? You know, she kind of is the same height and sort of mannerisms as one of the women behind the mask.
She realizes she's on her own, and now she's on the run. The second movie becomes this epic journey of survival. Somehow she has to figure out how she's gonna stay alive while she's being mercilessly hunted down. And slowly she starts changing, and she starts doing things that she couldn't ever have believed.
You're watching a person change in chapter 2 from this ordinary person to a survivalist.
If it actually happened and you were still stuck there and they were still chasing you, you know, what exactly would you do to survive, and how far would you go?
You almost died. Maybe your memory's just a little bit fogged up.
You're stepping into her mental state, what it would feel like to go through these events. So my job was to really navigate my character's emotional journey every day. And I think I had a notebook of notes maybe thicker than the script. And I also had a murder board, is what I called it, of the timeline of Maya. It was important for it to feel authentic and organic. So as long as I had spent enough time while we were doing pre-production, understanding at a cellular level who this person was at every step of the process, once I had that within me, I'd stop thinking about everything and live in the moment, and it really pushed my artistic abilities.
One of my favorite sequences is this SUV that Maya ends up in, and she thinks she's going for safety and help, and then her paranoia starts taking over.
Look, Maya, I'm really worried about your stitches. If your wound opens up, you could lose a lot of blood.
She's afraid, but it turns out it's Danica, the nurse. They're seemingly really nice and concerned about her, except they say little things that start to make her question.
I'll take you back to our house, okay? It's safe.
Rennie Harlan had this idea to play that car ride from Maya's point of view.
It just gets scarier and scarier and scarier until everything in the car is scary. The view out the window, the rain that is pounding on the roof, and the fact that the doors are locked. I just want to make this pressure cooker scene.
Open the door! Open it! Let me out! Relax! Calm down.
In this SUV, the tension was so high. It's such a small space. And so creating it was kind of weirdly liberating because I was forced to really go there.
Maya, meet our idiot roommates.
It's like, I don't want to breathe and I don't want to touch him because it's like I've never been this close to him before in my life. It created this really alive chemistry and relationship between the two of us that's so palpable on screen.
So you're the one everybody's talking about.
You also see the beginning of her mental fractures, like what is real and what is not. I'm losing my mind a little bit when you see the flash of Scarecrow.
Then the paranoia rises, and that preacher is talking on the radio. She's looking in the front, and she's seeing, oh my God, she's doll-faced.
That scene is the first time where you feel like she is an animal that needs to be out of this cage. And it's the first time where she really takes a risk. It's intense survival instincts. That animalistic instinct that she has, and her gut says, jump the fuck out of that car, so she does.
What the? Maya!
Maya gets to a point where she's essentially lost in the woods. No cell phone, no compass, no idea where she is. She maybe took 1 or 2 camping trips in her life, maybe, but that's about it. So the wilderness of Oregon really isn't her familiar zone.
But also she's injured, and we have this long scene where she has to sew up her own wound that she suffered in the first movie, and now she's aggravated by being out in the elements.
Do you have the guts, literally, to take this needle and actually sew yourself up with no anesthetic, no painkiller, no nothing? Because that's the only way you'll survive.
She is finding her will to live and watching her question, like, would death be better than what I'm dealing with right now?
Take 2, A mark.
B mark visual.
We did 3 11.5-minute takes. I've never lived in a take that long before where there's no dialogue. We had this incredibly talented prosthetics team who built that wound and was pumping blood through it while I was shooting. Do you want me to show it to camera more?
Yes.
It was a really intimidating scene to go into it, but something happens when the cameras start rolling where I just kind of like my mind goes blank and it just kind of happened. That's what's so great about working with Courtney is being able to like exist in the character's body and take the time that it would take to live in that.
When we first edited the scene, it was, if I remember, like about 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's grueling to watch. I mean, it's really grueling. So we actually ended editing it down to, I think, about just under 2 minutes, which is still extremely, you know, rough to watch. You haven't seen a scene like that in a movie before.
So you look out, no boar, no boar, no boar, your knife by the fire. In the second movie, we are in the forest, and I love wilderness, but I wanted to turn nature, instead of a safe place of hiding, I wanted to turn it into the most threatening place where anything could go wrong, and behind every tree there could be something scary.
Maya gets out to the wilderness, and just when she thinks, okay, I have escaped these human masked attackers, she faces a wild boar. And it's like, oh, come on, right?
The wild boar scene was bigger and bigger as the new scripts were coming, and I was very excited to shoot that. This was like a big CGI scene, you know, it was very challenging.
So it's coming through that seat where Bogdan's sitting.
Yeah, that entire seat explodes toward us.
You would normally get 3 days to shoot a sequence like that, and you would shoot it probably in a green screen stage. But because we had to be a bit more resourceful, we actually did it in the real environment, in the woods.
3, 2, 1, action.
We had to build the scene in post, so you don't have the board there, you have to imagine that the board is there.
The co-actor she was performing with, who was wearing a sort of black suit, became the boar.
I've never shot anything before with a creature actor, pushing me around and dragging me.
We tried to make it as physical as possible, but it was great because we also did a lot of handheld work with her.
I would bang my head on the log and I'd be like, oh my God. So it was really challenging physically.
Beautiful. Matt, are you okay? Fantastic take.
And there was an amazing team of artists that, over 9 months of meticulous work, just piece by piece, put that boar together.
That shot where I'm down on the ground and his snout just comes into frame and you see it twitching and you see his hair moving.
I was insistent that that shot had to be moved. You could feel the saliva and the hair moving, and you know, it's just like terrifying.
It's an important scene for Maya because it's her first intentional kill, and she lets all of her rage out on this thing. There's a piece of liberation in that she can actually like protect herself. There's also a lot of guilt and fear about the loss of the old version of herself. And that, to me, is the birth of the new Maya.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. Joblo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.